I believe we're recording right now. This should be my second Rocket League video, although it is technically part 3 if you were going by the series at which it takes place. Anyway, I'm about to join a game right now. While I talk to you, first time on camera in this Rocket League type content, while I talk to you about the NBA Finals, because oh my god was it exciting. So since the beginning of the finals, my dad was like, oh, the Warriors are going to sweep, oh, the Warriors are going to sweep. And considering the the setup for the finals allows for about 7 games, I was like, nah, the Cavs are going to probably win one. And long story short, my dad was totally right. And being the super duper right person that he was, he immediately went out after the finals, and I just got scored on. Thanks. And he bought 2 finals hats, while my sister also went out with him and bought another 2 finals hats because apparently they had sorry, hit the mic. Apparently they had 50 or so finals hats, and there was 15 people in line. And at first they were like, oh yes, come in single file, and they had 6 people on register because you would think, a product would like that would have just a ton of demand. But apparently, since only 15 people showed up and they had 6 people on registers, which is what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to overstock the employees so that they can move customers through really efficiently. But since there wasn't a lot of demand, they had so much supply that they were like, you know what, guys, I know this sounds crazy, but only limit 2 per person. After my dad being the 4th person in line, there's 6 registers, so we immediately got to the front. After he said, hey, do you mind if I buy 2 hats? I mean, he was totally willing to stand in line again, and totally follow the 1 per person rule that they set up, but it's kind of ridiculous when you could just go back in. That's 3 points scored me. And, just get another hat by putting it in your car and walking back in. But yeah, that happened after the Warriors won 108-85, which is hilarious because by the midway through, actually the beginning of the 4th quarter, we were like, no, we're ahead by so much. This is probably going to be a cakewalk, and it kind of was. And that sad moment of defeat in LeBron's eyes as he just sat down a couple minutes to the end of the game at the end of the 4th quarter, it was kind of sad. It was probably devastating to him that his last game, he says this is his last game, but he could probably just negotiate for a longer contract if he wanted. Although he might not, which would be kind of sad to have your last game end on a loss. But you gotta end sometime, come on. He's had a pretty long career. He's 30-something, and that's super long in basketball years, so it's kind of time for him, but then, and this is my 5th point that I've gotten scored on me. But then again, it's really cool that he had a really successful career. And then again, he's a multi-millionaire, so it really doesn't matter if he works a lot more after this. He's pretty much set for the rest of his life, but it's actually a pretty good thing that he got out while he's pretty young and mostly still healthy. Because if you think about all the football players, they get out of the game with very little mobility left and honestly very awful health condition, which is awful, but that's why they pay them the big bucks, literally. They pay these people millions of dollars a year because they're trashing their bodies in the pursuit of a sport, which is cool. Not that they're destroying their bodies, but that they're able to get such large amounts of money. Meanwhile, other people who are probably doing more dangerous things get far, far less in other countries, which is sad, but, works out well for us, in the us. I'm not even remotely a part of that. But it works out pretty well for them, I would consider, because if you can get out pretty early, even though it could feel like that you're leaving at the beginning of your prime. If you're still in your prime, it means you're going to have a lot of mobility and the ability to just transition fields pretty effectively if you still have the capacity to. So good for him. I mean, all things considered. I mean, it could be a lot worse. He could be going out on a win and also not be able to move his legs, which would be awful. Now that happens all the time, right? That was a joke. Anyway, I'm going to just focus up a bit on this Rocket League match and say congrats to LeBron for having a pretty long career. I say this because, Preston, the other person who was on one of these Rocket League podcasts on my channel, he kind of loves the Cavaliers, and my parents tease him for it. you know, because it's kind of hilarious when at the finals in this couple years in a row that he's cheering for the other team. Meanwhile, everyone else in my house is just cheering for the Warriors. It's pretty hilarious. All things considered, I'm gonna just. Oops, that's the wrong button. Just gonna. Yep, I'm just gonna go now. Goodbye.